to the month of October. Every Friday, Larry and Dan from the Ghosthunter the Dan Norvell Project have been coming in and talking about haunted areas around Rockford and not too far from Rockford. And so we figured, hey, it's Halloween. Let's do one more with the fellas. And this one is sort of a controversial spot we're talking about this morning. Let's talk about it. What are we hitting today?
So today we're going to be talking about Bloods Point Road and Bloods Point Cemetery.
Okay. So, as someone from the area and lived here for several years or whatever, you hear about Bloods Point Road, Bloods Point Bridge, and Cemetery, and oh my gosh, it's haunted and all this stuff. But it's more of an urban myth, isn't it?
It is. I think I don't know if you guys, but some of the sister stations in here, the news stations, they always put out a list of Rockford's most haunted locations or Northern Illinois' most haunted locations. And guess what's at the top of the list?
Bloods Point.
Bloods Point. Sometimes the road, sometimes the bridge, almost always the cemetery.
Right. And I think part of it, and it's always on the list of scariest names.
Absolutely.
And I get it, Bloods Point, it's a little creepy. But so what is this urban myth that everyone says, that it's haunted and, one of the scariest places in Northern Illinois?
The biggest urban myth about it is that a busload of kids were hit by a train, and if you stop your car on the bridge and put powder on it,
okay,
your car will mysteriously move to the other side of the bridge if you put it in neutral. And when you get out and check, you're going to have fingerprints all over the back of your car.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the one thing is how many times have you been to the Cherryvale Mall and you see somebody walking their kid, and I know my kids used to do it. They touch every single bumper that they walk by.
Right.
And it seems like every kid likes to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When the police take fingerprints at a crime scene, what do they put on them to bring them out? Powder.
Yeah.
So 2 and 2 together, yeah, you're going to have kids' fingerprints on your car because probably 1,000 kids touched them in Target's parking lot. The whole neutral thing, I think in one of the videos you posted, we tried to get my Jeep to move in neutral.
Right.
It didn't go anywhere. We have noticed that, and if you know anybody who's a surveyor and you took a transit out there, bridges are sloped so the water runs off of them. I mean, you don't want to hit the top of a bridge and go, careening off of it.
Right, because if it gets windy, it's already going to form some ice.
Absolutely. So the water, they make it so it pitches down each way and runs off. So gravity's probably your culprit, not a bunch of kids pushing you across.
Right.
And then, because I did read the article that you posted last night for us, thank you, by the way. Mm-hmm. In one of those videos, you see me standing on the bridge. I don't know how a bus would careen off onto the tracks and then get hit by the train anyway.
Right.
So you just put all those common sense things together, and it's an urban legend.
Right.
Well, you've also got your previous career, and you were able to look back, and there's no record of a bus ever going off that bridge.
Right, and there would be.
Oh, absolutely. Even if it's the 1800s, if
something like that.
If a horse-drawn carriage full of kids goes off, or 1965, an old-timey bus.
Yeah, there would be.
That's my tech guy, by the way.
A tragedy like that, there would be record of it.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, going with the stories of the urban myth, and you guys have done investigations there, and, and everywhere that we've talked about during the month of October, you've had some sort of finding, and there's been no findings. Bloods Point Road, Bloods Point Bridge, Bloods Point Cemetery.
I think, I know the first couple of pictures that I sent you were from May 4th, I think, maybe, 2010. And prior to that, that was around the time the big, huge destruction happened at Bloods Point Cemetery. Just before that, we started really kind of checking it out. And even a little bit after that, we were checking it out pretty heavy. And, when it comes to cemeteries and hauntings and stuff, when a lot of damage happens, that's when you expect the spirits to get a little upset.
Right.
And you'll get them coming out and being like, I'm upset. My stone was destroyed. And nothing. We've since gone back over the years. I mean, I understand that was, quite a few years ago, but over the years, we still haven't got anything. Our sensitive will go out with us and we'll be like, hey, you picking anything up here? And she's like, this place is quiet. There's nothing here.
So you've gone out there. Now, let's talk about that destruction a little bit. Now, did people say that was caused by paranormal activity, or was that everybody knows that was caused by vandals?
So, unfortunately, there was, I think, give or take, about $8,000 worth of damage. They suspect that it was teenagers going out. Any paranormal forum where it talks about Blood's Point, there's always that one person that says, oh, yeah, when I was a kid, this really creepy thing happened when I was out there trying to impress this girl, or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And that really, I think that's what it is. Someone goes out there and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a tough guy. And they start kicking over stones, being like, nothing's going to happen to me.
Right.
But they destroyed a priceless stone.
Right.
I mean, you can't get sandstone back once you destroy it. It's gone.
Right.
Like, sometimes you can piece it back together, but it's always going to have that massive crack in it. And you're talking about a stone over 100 years old, it's never going to be the same.
So this begs a good point that we definitely wanted to touch on today, especially because it's Halloween.
Yes.
And people are going to want to go out and do something spooky and scary.
Yes.
So let's talk about respect for the places you go to.
Absolutely. Especially Blood's Point, because of that damage. The neighbors that are around it, and there's one that shares a fence with the cemetery. His house is right there. If they see you stopped, even outside the cemetery limits, they're calling the sheriff. And the sheriff is going to be there within minutes.
Yeah.
They're always around there, especially Halloween. They're always around there, and if you're there, you can expect those neighbors are going to call. They will stay up all night long to watch that cemetery.
Yeah.
And there's one guy down the road that will come up to you and ask you what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And let's just say he's a very intimidating old guy.
Right.
And he's the one that owns the two great big Rottweilers, so,
They might be gone by now.
Right, but
Would that be the Hounds of Hell?
I'm pretty sure that those are the hellhounds.
Right. And then you've also got a lot of situations where someone's like, I saw these eyes in the cemetery. They were beady eyes. They were staring at me. Well, guess what's behind that fence next to that house, next to the cemetery?
Right.
Cows.
Oh, yeah.
There's a cow yard right there. Mm-hmm. And you can't see the cows because it's dark, but if you're shining a flashlight around, their eyes are going to reflect.
Plus, there's a cornfield right over with a little bit of woods over on that one side. Deer, I mean, especially around now,
Oh, yeah.
where they've just combined everything. The deer are out trying to eat the corn that's been left in the field.
Right. So let's put that out there then. If you decide to go, I would avoid that place because you're going to just get in
100%.
trouble. You're just going to get in trouble because that's a known place.
Yes.
That they know
Yes.
people go to. But if you do end up going to some sites where there's been stories of paranormal activity and stuff, be respectful and
Absolutely,
don't
yeah.
do any damage.
No, because, one night of fun turns into, some poor families 6 months of trying to come up with funds to fix a stone of their ancestor.
Right.
And there's a lot of people in Blood's Point, their family members are still alive. Mm-hmm. So in 2010, where all that damage happened, then they're looking at these stones going, how do I fix this?
Right.
The county can only do so much. Sometimes the family has to then step in and say, okay, well, here's $500. Let's get this fixed. And the county can help them out. Well,
And $500 isn't going to go far on a sandstone restoration.
no,
Right.
absolutely not.
So the Bloods Point Road, Bridge, Cemetery, urban myth, urban legend.
100%.
I would say so. We've never documented anything there.
And everything that is the myth or the legend of both the road, the bridge, the cemetery, and all that, not only can we pretty easily debunk it, but in some cases, like the demon dogs or the black truck that chases people,
Yeah.
we pretty much know who those are. I mean, without saying a name, we know exactly
I know
who the
who
black
the
truck
guy
is.
was who drove the black truck that chased people down.
Right. And if you notice, a lot of those things happened, 20 plus years ago, and then they haven't happened since.
Right.
Because the guy grew up and said, oh, man, this is stupid. I'm going to get arrested.
got married and had kids and said, I don't want to end up in jail.
Right.
But what we want to talk about is something you guys found last week. You guys stick around for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We've got something new that you found. This is
Brand new.
Very, very exciting. It's Larry and Dan from the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project on Halloween. It's Rockford's home for Classic Rock, 96.7 The Eagle. Larry and Dan from the Ghosthunter the Dan Norvell Project. We had just talked about Bloods Point Road, Bridge Cemetery urban myth. It's just so you know that to go back. Now, you guys had a big weekend. You had some good findings at some place that we talked about in the beginning of our whole series of haunted places in Rockford.
It's like we've come full circle.
It is. When I got your email and you said that, I'm like, it's interesting how that worked out. So we're going to talk about Veterans Memorial Hall in downtown Rockford. So you guys were there over the weekend?
Yeah, we were there Saturday night, and we had an event with Haunted Rockford, Kathy Kressel, and Kathy's partner, Sarah, who is psychic, was there with her. And we had 12 guests. Scott, actually, who is the director down there, actually got to investigate with us. I think Scott got the ghost hunting bug bit him a little bit. He really had a good time.
That's good. Scott's a good guy.
Scott is a good guy. But, yeah, we had tons of activity. Larry had the group downstairs, and he comes upstairs. He's very excited to tell the whole group upstairs on all the stuff that he heard on the ghost box and this, that, and the other thing. And everybody up in my group just starts laughing. We were doing a ghost box session, and we really weren't getting a lot. So I looked at Kathy and I said, let's just shut it down, and we'll do a regular EVP and see what we can catch. And that's when stuff started happening. We heard this heavy panting from right over on the left side of the stage, and there was a lady that was holding her phone, and we thought she was messing with us and had this panting coming over her phone.
Right.
And Sarah and I both looked over, and I said, do you have a phone app that's got this panting? Are you just messing with us?
Right.
And she turned her phone around, and she goes, no, I've got this ghost app, and she goes, it doesn't make any noise at all. And she turned around and showed it to me, and it wasn't. But we physically, the whole group heard somebody pant like they had just run up the stairs.
Right.
We also heard somebody singing out in the hallway. And I called him on the radio, and I'm like, would you please quit singing, because we're trying to do. And he calls back and he goes, I'm not singing. He goes, I'm downstairs. I'm doing something. And it sounded just like his voice singing. The whole group heard it.
What were they singing? Anything in
I couldn't. You could hear that it was a tune, and you could hear it was his voice, but you couldn't make out the words. Yeah. It was really strange. And then I was shooting video, and Sarah had made contact with a gentleman that had fought in the Pacific campaign, I think she said, Pacific Theater. And she said, I'm seeing he's kind of wearing a white T-shirt. So I'm running the camera, and I'm trying to listen to what she's saying, and all of a sudden I look over. Now, mind you, everybody's on this side of the room.
Okay.
I look over, and about 5 feet from me is a dude standing in a white T-shirt, looks just like what she just explained. And he didn't look like a ghost or a apparition. He looked like you or I.
Okay.
And he just kind of looked at me, and he turned, and just as quickly as he turned, gone.
Wow.
And I was the only one. I think Andrew might have seen it too. There was stuff going on up in the balcony. There was there was, and we're not big orb guys, but you could actually see these lights floating in the balcony, and they left little light trails behind them. It was the strangest night I've ever spent at the Vets Hall.
Somebody was having a Halloween party, it sounds like.
Absolutely. So, and we got, we did get good ghost box responses and stuff, but
the woman that Sarah had with the affirmatives.
Yeah, she was talking to a different guy from the war, and every time that he would answer her, he'd go, copy that, affirmative.
Oh, wow.
Copy that, which is how they talked.
Right.
Then we have, and I don't think I've ever showed you this, but we have what they call a K2 meter. And one of our guests was holding it, and we're watching it, and it's making...
Flipping around.
So Sarah and I are watching this, and I said, Sarah, do you happen to know Morse code? And she goes, yeah, because Sarah was a Marine. She goes, that's SOS.
Oh, wow.
So the K2, for about a minute and a half, kept doing SOS.
Wow.
It was the coolest night I've ever spent there.
That's really cool. Now, I mean, obviously, this stuff just happened, so you don't have anything up
None of the
on the
videos out yet,
website. But eventually, at some point, you'll have some of that stuff up, and that will be cool. I can't wait to make sure you send me that when you get it done. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in all month. It was great. We'll have to plan something later on in the year, and we're doing a ghost hunt with you guys in December, so we'll have to do something with that.
We're not exactly sure what to call it. We just keep calling it the media ghost hunt. I mean, because it's you, 97.5, 98.5, or I can never remember the AM station.
ROK.
WRK.
Yeah, all of you guys are invited. And then we spoke with Gene over at the ABC and the Fox channels, and they might send some
and
people.
Fox 39, yeah.
So, I mean, that's 6 different quote-unquote media sources that could be there. It's the media investigation.
Right. So that'll be a great time. If people are looking for you guys, where's the best place they can find all your info and all your videos and pictures and all that?
Everything the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and then our website is ghosthunterdannorvell.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the last month. We've had a lot of fun and a lot of great stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been awesome. We thank you.
It's Rockford's home for Classic Rock 96.7 The Eagle.